Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the Digitally Downloaded Podcast, the companion podcast to digitally-downloaded.net. My name is Alan, and I am going to be your host for today. With me, I have Matt, all the way from the distant land of Japan.
That's me. I am in the homeland.
Yes. Is it nice there?
It's rainy. It's very late.
Well, that's pleasant.
It's not typhoony, though, which is good.
That's always a benefit, I guess. The whole, not being in horrible danger thing is quite nice.
Yeah. I mean, Japan's been having a lot of typhoons so far, so I'm sure I'll have one before I leave. But, so far it's just rain.
You know what? That's great. I'm really happy for you. Just not having, just terrifying weather events. That's really nice. And we've also got Harvard with us here. Hello, Harvard.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
So, we're going to do a little bit of a quick news roundup, and then we're going to head straight into stuff. I'm going to talk about Katamari Damacy coming back, because that game is fantastic, and it's coming to Switch, and I'm going to like that game a lot. That game is real good. I already know that I'm going to like that game because I've played it 1,000 times.
It's colourful.
It's a very colourful, just happy game. It's from a period of time where, B-tier development games were, the thing. And I like that.
Yeah, once upon a time it was okay to be happy and colourful.
Yeah, it was okay to just be a video game with one concept and not be it's an open world game where you collect things and there's things. Yeah, it used to be hey, we're gonna make a game where you roll, and that's the entire concept, and I really like that. It's just a pleasant game. It's a very nice video game.
Yeah.
What's the thing that you're keen about as a result of news?
Space Channel 5 VR, which is cool. So cool. I loved Space Channel back in the day. That was before Hatsune Miku took over the world, but that was
They did they sort of called it with that though a little bit.
They have. I mean, they haven't had a Space Channel for about three generations. It's been ages. It's been PlayStation 2 was the last one. So yeah, it's good it's coming back and in VR. And for people who haven't played Space Channel, it's basically like a rhythm game where you're fighting against aliens, and it's like these dance-offs, and it's really cute and charming and bright and colourful. A bit like Katamari, really. Very colourful.
It's again from that period where there was a very nice divide between the AAA games and the reasonably well-made games that were focused around a single concept.
Yeah, it was Sega at its best. Yep.
Yeah. And then Harvard, what would you say was your news of the week?
Both of you guys gave such lighthearted and wholesome picks this week. I'm gonna weigh in on this game called The Midnight Sanctuary, which is releasing I think this month, and it's this indie Japanese horror game about this isolated village founded by persecuted Christians, and then weird stuff starts happening, and it's really scary, and it's just great. It looks really great, and the art style is so unique compared to some of the other indie horror games we see. If you're into that and need something to balance out your happy rolling game, then pick this one. This one looks good.
It sounds like you've just recounted Resident Evil 4, but instead of horrible parasite things, it's just people. And that scares me. That scares me even more.
Resident Evil 4, except you can't kill anything.
Oh, no thank you. No, I like shooting things in that game. It's the best part of that game. All right, so we're going to jump to some music really quickly now, and then we'll be right back in to talk about some good old Switch goodness. Welcome back, everyone. Matt has finally convinced me to play Vocaloid music, and I've now chosen this one from the great pool of Vocaloid music I have in my computer now from downloading all these tracks. It's great.
Forcing people to be with fans one at a time.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's great. Anyway, we've actually got a new guest on the show as well. Trent has arrived. Hello, Trent.
Hello. I'm just late like usual.
Yeah, gosh, how dare you? We did start the podcast recording about half an hour earlier, which was a bit of a struggle, I'm going to be honest, but that's all right. So if you've been paying attention to the news this week, you'll know that there was a big old Nintendo Direct thing that happened, and that's pretty good because those Directs generally tend to have things in them, which is... Well, they do.
They do.
They do generally have things in them. And this one was
honestly, during a thing.
Alan, 10 out of 10 news.
Look, you know what? I'm going to report on this in my way. It's my way or the highway.
How about we just make some controversial statement like this was better than the E3?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was a good Switch. It was a good Direct, though.
It was a real good Direct, yeah. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I mean, it told us that Civ 6 is coming to Switch on 19th of November, which is like all I care about at this point.
We already knew that one. That was unfortunately it was a little bit leaked. Yeah, because they remember they had to delay the Direct a bit, and because they did that and the Yoshi game, they were both kind of leaked early, unfortunately. So
that sucks. I didn't know there was an actual release date though.
We actually talked about that in the podcast last week.
Oh, that's nice. Oh yeah, we can talk about the fact that Final Fantasy VIII has just been completely ignored by history, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's like Square Enix announced, 8 different Final Fantasy games? And,
except for 8.
And except for, Final Fantasy VIII was left out of it. So we got what?
They chose Crystal Chronicles over 8.
No, Crystal Chronicles is good, though.
I know it's good, but
also
it's
good,
the strangest pick.
It's not, it's just not Final Fantasy VIII. I'm very upset by this, actually. Very upset. Because,
oh no,
Final
you can't play the worst Final Fantasy. Darn.
Alan.
No, that's 2, I'm sorry.
I mean, Final Fantasy 7 is good, Final Fantasy 9 is good, Final Fantasy 10 is great, Final Fantasy 10-2 is even better, Final Fantasy 12 is brilliant, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is great, and the best of all is Chocobo Dungeon is actually making a comeback, which is just... I'm bouncing right now just talking about it. But Final Fantasy 8, I'm very sad.
Yeah.
Just imagine Square Enix. Like the guys from Nintendo came to the office and said, "Hey, do you want to put any games on the Switch?" And then one person was just, "Why don't you just put all of them on?" And there's one little intern at the back says, "Except for 8, we don't do 8."
We don't talk about that time.
I don't know what it is because it's like that's exactly what's happened with the iPad as well. You can get every Final Fantasy basically ever made except for 8. It's the same with the PlayStation 4. You can get Final Fantasy 7 and 9, but not 8. And I don't know. Either there is a genuine hatred to Final Fantasy VIII amongst the people of Square Enix, or they just can't do it for some reason. But that's it. It's weird because you can play it on your PSP.
It's possible that they just can't spell the word 8.
Or they've literally lost their only copy, so they can't actually copy it over.
Oh, they've done like a Kingdom Hearts situation because they did that with Kingdom Hearts 1. They lost the source code for that and had to rebuild it. So it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if Square Enix just forgot how to make Final Fantasy VIII, and they're like,
even they can't do
it from like a NES piracy site like Nintendo did with all those ROMs, apparently, allegedly.
Yeah, but you can't now because that's illegal.
Yeah, because they're all gone. That's the problem.
Yeah, so now everything's screwed.
There is a great story in this somewhere. A game developer who loses their source code and tries to find the emulation online, except they can't because they were the ones who persecuted out the emulation. The
Emperor's New Clothes. Yeah, that's really strange to me that then like really hard pushing this whole 8 doesn't exist situation, especially after how they've tried to bring back 12 so hard. Like, I don't understand what they're doing. Like, they might do another thing potentially where they, I don't know, like bring it back in 5 years and be like, it's the year of Final Fantasy VIII. And then no one wants to be in that year because the game is all right, but it's fine.
That'll do. They're doing a HD remaster of it, and they're going to ruin it because just like they're going
because Nomura doesn't know how to make anything anymore.
Yeah, that HD remaster of Final Fantasy VII is looking like a train wreck and a half. That is.
they've spent like 7 years on it now, and it's still only on the first like DLC part. It's just like, what? How does this happen?
Huge though, like it's gonna be so enormous when it comes out.
Oh, it'll be a big game, but like, I just don't care. I'm over it. The game's got nothing behind it. Anyway, back to the Switch. So we have Isabelle as a fighter in Smash Bros. Now, which the furry community got really excited over. I saw at least 4 tweets about that and was kind of like, oh, I'm really glad I have my images on mute. So that was lovely.
But I mean, I think we'll let Trent talk about this because I'm sure he's super excited about it. But Animal Crossing.
They're going to say because he's a furry.
Not for the furry part.
Well, he is.
Besides, we all know that Zootopia is where all the furries are, like the better furries. Anyway, so
Jesus.
You know, like the fox and the rabbit. Like, come on.
I do know the fox and the rabbit. Anyway, yeah, Trent, tell me about Smash.
The Smash. Okay.
Or Animal Crossing.
We're talking about Smash. We're talking about Animal Crossing. Like the biggest troll Nintendo has ever done was that trailer. Everyone's excited for Animal Crossing. They're so beaten down. They want it to happen. They're like, it's at the end of the direct. Maybe it will be revealed this one, but most likely not. It'll probably be the next direct. And then bam, it's one more thing. And then it's like a, you know, like a video like they've made of like obviously custom built for the trailer itself. So it's like, oh, maybe it's not the Switch game, but it's got Isabella like talking about stuff. And it's like, yes, maybe. You know, they're talking about, you know, how everyone's playing like that mobile game and everyone's playing Smash Brothers. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's a letter. It's like, yes, it's going to reveal the game. And then it's like, no, she's joined the fight for Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can respect that. I can respect that. That's honestly like better than I expected them to do. I expected them just to say, hey, Animal Crossing exists, and then just leave. And which they kind of just did anyway. But, you know. That game's gonna be fun. I like Animal Crossing. It's a very nice game to have.
Well, it can't really show off much about Animal Crossing because it's pretty
basic.
Boring.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The whole point of the game is to be bored, and yeah, it doesn't make it the most exciting trailers. So it's probably best they're just like, yeah, we're doing it, and then yeah, everybody can get excited.
It does if there's some cool new activity like. You know, we're probably going to be the mayor again. Maybe it's going to be a 3DS port, eh? I don't know. Anyway,
I really hope it's not a 3DS port. I hope it's an actual game.
But like maybe like you know, don't you feel some sort of new activity or something they could like demo it and get people excited? That probably would be the way they'll go with trailers. So,
and by new activity, does they do mean you get to plant like vegetables or something?
I've always wanted like a Harvest Moon X Animal Crossing.
Harvest Moon X Animal Crossing. Make it happen.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
That would be dope. Yeah, I'd play that.
Also, Matt, here's some news from the director you'll enjoy. Splatoon getting a battle royale mode.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Is that not what they said?
Is that actually happening? I thought that was a meme. I saw that on Twitter. I thought it was a meme.
Was it a meme? I don't actually know. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
It's very likely to be a meme.
That.
Surely
it would not surprise me. Like, it has to be. There's no way they're doing that.
Let me see.
Mind you, I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to combine two of the most painfully annoying things I've ever played together into one just to really...
Matt just really enjoys Splatoon.
Maybe it is a meme. The only news article that I saw that's doing it is the Telegraph, and maybe
the Telegraph just got memed.
Just got memes, yeah.
I think the Telegraph got memed. I don't think that's actually happening.
Oh, well, DDNet exclusive scoop. It's happening.
But what is definitely happening because it's already there is Cities Skyline. That was a heck of an announcement, and it just they announced it and it's there on the same day, and it's like, oh my god, Cities on the go, which is just great.
Everything I've ever wanted.
It's the real SimCity.
It's the only SimCity that I will respect at this point.
And it's amazing, and I've got it downloaded on my Switch. I haven't actually played it yet. I need to find some time to, but. I'm in Japan and I'm actually thinking about playing the Nintendo Switch game. There you go. That's how much I love. That's how much I love Cities.
It's a really good game, though. To be fair,
I'm so excited. It's so good.
The best part about Skylines is when it first came out. It came out straight after SimCity, and SimCity was like
everyone was just upset.
Everyone was upset because SimCity turned out to be crap. Like, and the EA was like, could just tweak it so easily to make it awesome. And then they're like, nope, sorry, lol. And then suddenly City Skylines came out and everyone's like, hang on a minute, this is an indie game. It's actually quite polished. It's doing everything we want from SimCity.
And now it's on the Switch.
Yeah, let's just play this
it's
instead.
story.
It's great. And actually, the Switch one of City Skyline actually has 2 of the DLCs in it as well. So you're getting extra bang for your buck and all that stuff, which is great. Can't wait to really get stuck into it. And also, while we're on topics of really awesome games that are now landing on Switch, Armello.
Armello, yeah, that's such a
Armello.
good pick. That is the perfect game for the Switch.
I wonder if they'll let you play multiple people on one console. Like you can just pass the Joy-Cons around. That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, Civ's doing that now, which it would make sense because you can treat it like a board game now. Like it makes a lot of sense. I think that'd be a really, really good time.
There's those board games coming out for the Switch. How cool is
yeah,
that?
also
that's
Catan,
a great
yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
Wait,
the Switch
I
is
missed
getting
that.
more and more cool.
Catan.
Yeah, Catan's coming to Switch.
Oh,
All
that's
those,
so cool.
Euro games like Carcassonne's coming to Switch and Munchkin, if you want to play that on the Switch, is on the Switch now. It's
Yeah,
Really?
they've added a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
That's so cool. What a direct.
Yeah, what a direct. And with that, I reckon that we will cut to some music. So I'm thinking after that, we'll play some Splatoon music. Just for
No!
And welcome back. We're going to talk about some Sony stuff right now because the TGS has just been quite full on. It's been very, very good as well. We've actually been quite, I would say, lucky to have, two events like this just so back to each other and having such a good selection of games. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I really enjoyed seeing, and that was the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. trailer that they released. That game looks phenomenal. I'm really excited. They've got like wall jumping and stuff like that in it now. So it's like they've actually learnt about all the horrible movement stuff from Dark Souls and been like, maybe we can fix that, which is fantastic. I'm really excited for it. It looks really, really cool. And if you haven't seen it, the trailer is about,
I'm still not sure about that one, unfortunately.
It's because of Activision, but
yeah. It's because of Activision.
You can buy loot boxes, but they're actually Japanese cherry blossoms that the petals fall down, Matt, and they give you loot.
Why on earth? I don't understand why. Firstly, From Software would want to work with Activision, and secondly, why Activision would want to work with a Japanese developer. It's so weird. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm very confused by this. Still.
Yeah, it seriously makes no sense. But the game looks good from all accounts that I've heard of people playing it. Plays good, so
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. It's just weird. It just weirds me out. Like, I don't get it.
It's obviously a PR experience for Activision to get people to love them again.
Because they're fighting with EA right now, and I don't think anyone can hate EA anymore. So it's sort of like they're just stomping on EA at this point. But then Activision's also still bad, so it's like not a good situation. But it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. Matt, what would you say is your most anticipated thing from the show this time round?
Okay, I've got two. Firstly, Murray Rose coming to Dead or Alive 6. Yay! Murray Rose is the bestest character in Dead or Alive 6. Is starting to shape up finally. After putting me off completely at the start, they announced the characters I want, so I'm happy now at the moment. I get to play it soon because I get to play it at TGS, and I get to have an interview with the director, so I'm going to ask him the hard questions. You can be sure.
Like, how hard can I be when playing this game?
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Oh, I'm proud of that one.
I'll give you points for that one. Well done. The other one, and a slightly more serious note, I guess, the one that I'm really excited for is the Yakuza Studios' new one. Which is called Judge Eyes.
Judge Eyes / Project Judge.
Yeah, Judge Eyes is looking so good, and it's
just Yakuza.
Well, no, it's not, because it's like it's like Yakuza, but it's not. It's the same kind of methodology, I guess, in how to create a game, but it's a very different focus. And
it reminds me a little bit more of Sleeping Dogs, kind of.
Well, the thing I like about it,
like cop angle to it, doesn't it? It's
yeah,
got like that crime solving thing.
The thing I really love about it is they've once again gone and got some of Japan's best known or beloved actors to do the full face scan, and they're immediately recognizable to Japanese people. I showed my wife, actually, there's a preview of it in the Famitsu that was out this week, and I showed my wife it, and she was like, oh, I know this guy, and I know this guy, and I know this guy. So
that's so cool.
I just love how this studio, this Sega studio, manages to convince Sega to let them throw all this money at getting celebrities to do all the acting, because Yakuza has that as well. They always have, actors that are well known for Yakuza films in their Yakuza games, and this one looks like it's going to be the same, only it's more about, obviously, judging crime.
Judging with your eyes.
Crime solving. Great. I can't wait. I'm really.
Can we go with judging with your eyes instead, please?
Judging with your eyes.
Oh, I love that.
And,
yeah, the game looks really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. And then just one other one is the Square Enix is bringing that RPG to.
Last Remnant.
I'm sorry again. Last Remnant, that's the one. I've actually wanted to play that for quite a while, never have, and now I get to, which is great.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, it's one of those games I just didn't find.
They found the code for it, but they still can't find the code for Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I don't blame them. Arvin, what would you say is something that you've taken away from the big old show?
I'm pretty excited. I know we talked about it on the Switch as well, but Crystal Chronicles Remastered, that was a very slept on game. And I think the reason why it was slept on was because when they first made it for the GameCube, you needed to have 4 Game Boy Advances to connect to your GameCube, and no one was able to play it multiplayer.
Who has that?
Exactly.
Who's this game made for?
The Switch? Like, if you could get like Game Boy games, like Game Boys, and plug it into the Switch GameCube adapter, and then play Crystal Chronicles the way it was meant to be played.
That sounds extremely dumb, but also now I need to do it.
I actually did play Crystal Chronicles with my two brothers, and we all had Game Boy Advances, and we actually had those connector points. So we played.
I am so impressed, Matt. That's actually amazing.
And it was really good. It was actually good fun. Very light RPG, but having your inventory and stuff on the second screen was, especially back then, it was a really neat little feature. So, yeah, hopefully it still manages to capture some of the fun when you've only got one screen to work with.
Yeah, and I think the thing that sets it apart from other 4-player RPGs, like if you were playing Diablo 3 with some friends, is that Crystal Chronicles is built around that teamwork experience. It's really like Overcooked X RPG. And then everyone's trying to yell at each other, be like, cast a spell now, move the bucket here. It's like, it's great.
Move the bucket here.
Oh, you so
high tension, high stakes gameplay.
No, Matt, explain what the bucket means.
Oh, so you had to carry this kind of crystal thing around, and anything outside of it created like a shield, force field shield that protected you from some miasma outside. So that was the kind of mechanic of forcing everybody to keep their group of characters together. If you went outside of a certain radius of the bucket, you would die. So basically what you do, the way we played it was we gave one of my brothers the role of carrying the bucket around, and they couldn't do much else because you couldn't fight while you were carrying the bucket. So that poor bugger, he was very he was bored when he was playing a bit, because all he was doing was carrying a bucket around. But
because he was the bucket boy.
He was the bucket boy, and but it was a clever mechanic, because otherwise everybody would have just gone off of their own direction.
Yeah. And then Trent, what would you say is something that you are excited for outside of the old TGS Sony stuff?
See, I'm sort of like the boring, because like everyone said mine. Like Crystal Chronicles, obviously I'd get on the Switch, but that being announced at the PlayStation event as well, and obviously it was going to be in the Direct as well, if it hadn't been delayed. That was something which I'm definitely excited for, because I really wanted to play Crystal Chronicles when it was first out, but I never did. So a lot of the games which were revealed both from Sony and Nintendo are things which are like, hang on a minute, these are things which are old, and a lot of people have played them, but there are a lot of games which I've missed out on from the generation. So I'm really picking them up, like all those Final Fantasy games. Like I haven't played any of them. Like I'm excited to relive them. And also, just going to mention, World of Final Fantasy is coming out on the Switch. I knew when I bought the Vita version earlier this year that it's going to come out on the Switch. I'm like, I told you guys, and it did. I'm really cut about that. But otherwise, the Yakuza Studios game as well is something I'm excited for. So they're both things which have all been covered in the podcast, unfortunately. So
yeah, well, I think there's some very sort of standout things that have happened as a result of TGS, which is always good.
There is Square Enix has also announced another new project called Prelude Rune. At the moment, all we've got is literally a concept art of it, but it's enough to get excited.
Is that the new RPG by that?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah. Oh, I forget the designer's name. But yeah, it looks really cool. I saw that too and was like, oh, this looks nice.
It's a studio founded by the Tales series brand manager,
Yes,
Hideo Baba.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. That's looking really good. Looking really good. It's got one screenshot, one concept art, but I'm excited. Very
for
excited.
sure. And on that note, I think we might cut to some music a little bit. We're going to play some music from Final Fantasy VIII in honor of our fallen 8. And welcome back. So this week's been quite a good week if you're into sports games, which is fantastic because I am, and that's all that I care about right now. I picked up NHL 19 yesterday, and that game is real good. It's a real good hockey game. If you are at all interested in ice hockey at all, you will really enjoy this. I do the thing where I jump from 2 years of gap. So I played 17, for example, for 2 years, and then I've moved to 19 now. And that's been quite a big jump in quality, to be quite honest. The skating's been improved marginally, like a lot. Oh, not marginally then. It's been improved a lot. My brain's not working. The skating has been improved a lot. It's fantastic. There's a lot more animation now, so it's a lot smoother. The on-puck play is also fantastic now. It feels a lot more reactive rather than moving through pre-cycled animations, which is really, really nice to see. And they've also added this new mode called World of Chell, which is probably like my favorite thing that they've done. So it's sort of like a online create a character, go around, play different modes, and just do stuff and get unlockable clothing for all your favorite teams and stuff like that. Which means, of course, there are loot boxes. So heads up, like every sports game nowadays, it's going to have loot boxes or microtransactions or anything atrocious like that. It is better than 2K, though. It's a little bit like less egregious than 2K. So yeah, this game's really, really fun. If you are interested in hockey at all, go pick it up. It's good. I rate it so far. I've played about 2 hours.
I haven't played a hockey game since the PS3, actually. I should pick up one.
Yeah, they're really, really good fun. They're very, very hard to get into because the stick controls are a bit like all over the place if you've never played one before, but I really enjoy it.
I actually discovered ice hockey because of video games way back when.
No, I can respect that.
I never really knew about the sport, and then I picked up one of the
94.
One of the ice hockey games in Nintendo 64, actually. Actually, no, it was Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, Gretzky Hockey. Yeah, that's
Gretzky
a good
hockey.
game.
Yeah, I picked that up and I discovered I quite actually like hockey. And then I decided to play one of the more serious simulations, which I think was Breakaway, I think it was called. And,
NHL Breakaway, which was 98.
98.
I want to say.
Yeah. So I played it a lot, and then I discovered I like ice hockey. I have a problem with the more recent ice hockey games because they are so complex in terms of the controls. But EA's last one that I did play, which was on the PS3, like I said, I can't remember which, but 2015, I think.
93 on the 2000 on the PS3.
But it did have an awful lot of different customization options, right down to you being able to play it like you would on the Super NES, which is like a button to pass and button to shoot, and that's about it. So, yeah.
If you ever use that control scheme, though, you are going to lose every single game online and also offline.
Offline, it adjusted the difficulty of the opponents, I think, from memory, because it was quite playable just with that 2-button control. Online, I wouldn't have bothered, but I never play online.
Yeah, online you would get just dumped on because so much of this game is reliant on deking at this point, and moving your stick around for defensive stuff. Which, by the way, they've revamped defensive work, so now defense is a lot more fun to play. It's great. You can actually like control your sticks moving the entire time, just to like make sure that you can actually cover different areas of the puck, which is fantastic. It makes so much sense.
I will say that I think that's a problem that applies to pretty much all modern sports games. They all seem to be overly complex, or not all of them actually, most of them. NBA is certainly way too complex. Even
2K is just it's a schmozzle of understanding that game.
I mean, I like basketball in principle, but I can't play the video games because they just confuse the hell out of me. FIFA, unfortunately, is going that way as well. It's a little bit too
FIFA is so good, though. It's getting better and better every year. It's so good.
I think I prefer.
And they've added a battle royale mode, Matt.
I think
they've literally added a battle royale.
I think I prefer PES still. I find the way it controls to be a little bit more straightforward. Unfortunately, PES has lost basically every license, so it's pretty much an unlicensed game these days compared to the FIFA
You can
ones.
play as everyone's favorite player, Ronaldo.
Yeah,
he's my favorite player for Real Madrid.
Apparently, because I mean, the main license that was sustaining PES was the UEFA Champions League, and apparently the sales of this year's game has dropped by like 50% because they lost that license. So sad days for PES. But I will say that the one sports game that's come out, they all seem to come out at the same time every year. But the one
it's the mid-September rush where it's FIFA, Madden, NHL, and the MLB games occasionally as well.
Yeah, and F1. F1.
And F1.
Yes, I love my F1.
It's so good
this year. It is so good. So good.
Yeah. For those of you who've never played an F1 game before, these are not racing games. They are F1 games.
Yes.
So if you do not know how to do F1, you will be in a world of pain.
They are way complex. Like the tactics and stuff that you can apply to them, though, because you can really, it's just, it's deep. It's rich. It's good.
If you don't know how to do a correct pass, you will be in a bad place. And if you don't know what blocking is, then you're going to be also in a bad place, like I was when I first played it when I was like 8 or 9. Like, why am I getting penalized? I've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's like, I just want to race fast, but I've got to do all this thinky stuff. It's terrible.
Yeah, I actually have to do a racing like theory, which is fantastic. That game's really, really good fun. And Codemasters have been working on it for like the last 6 or 7 years, and they're all just very good at their job.
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
Honest. Yeah, and it looks fantastic.
It does, and they've absolutely nailed the sense of speed. Because F1 is the fastest of racing games, racing sports, as far as I'm aware. They get crazy fast. And, they've really captured that perfectly in this game. It's just, it's amazing. And the other thing is, it can't be easy making these games because most racing games have a certain number of tracks, right? But the F1 season is longer than that. Than most racing games. So you end up getting so many tracks to race on because they have to put them all in there. And this year there's one new one, I think, is there?
We all agree, though, the worst track in the entirety of F1 is Albert Park. And I really...
Oh, Melbourne is such a disappointing start.
It's such a nothing... It is a nothing track. It's so bland.
It's boring, I know.
It used to be better when it was in Adelaide. This is not even just like someone who lived in Adelaide saying that. But, like, the track in Adelaide was dope.
Yeah, the Melbourne track is pretty boring one, I find, too. It's not a good way to start the season.
Like, welcome to the fastest motorsport in the world with the worst track in the world.
I tell you what, I'm quite happy with the Singapore track. I like that they've added Singapore to the year.
Yeah,
and the way they do it at night, as like a night street race, is different.
Does it have rain? How's the rain in the game? Like, does it really affect the driving at all? Or?
Oh shit, yes.
Wonderful. That's all I care about. I'm into it.
If it starts to rain during a race and you don't hurry and get slicks on, you're in all kinds of trouble.
I love that. That's
talking about the wheels, you have to change your wheels for people who are maybe not so familiar with F1. They have.
That's sort of fun, but it sounds like way too complicated. Like I'm sort of like, I like Forza. I like going to the bare basics. If the game makes me like even change anything, I'm just like, no, I don't want to do this. Like I hate the snow levels and stuff in Forza because it's like, oh no, my car's suddenly crap. but I want to drive this. I just want to drive a car around a nice countryside, which I can because Forza Horizon 4 is coming out and the demo is out now.
And you can play as James Bond in the final game.
What, really?
Yeah, they've
Really?
added, yeah, it's a crossover event.
You're not just trolling me here. You can actually play as James Bond.
I'm not trolling you. I saw this on the news. It might be a troll against me.
Why is everyone getting trolled with news? First Howard, then now
Yes,
Alan.
Today's a bad news day.
No, yeah,
what I want.
Forza Horizon 4 gets James Bond Day 1 DLC. Yep, brilliant.
Can I just ask why?
Because
like when you're driving, you're not actually usually looking at your character, and I've always found it weird that all these racing games are now starting to throw customizable helmets in and stuff. Because why?
No, I wish that. So the Isle of Man TT game that came out a while ago was fantastic, and it had that sort of customization stuff in it, which was the only time I was like, yeah, I can see this being a cool thing because I can see my driver.
Horizon has crazy cutscenes, like it's all like a party mode. It's stuff Matt wouldn't appreciate because it's too hipster and young. It's basically, the.
You're just not cool enough, Matt.
Yeah, I'm really not cool enough for Forza. I know that. I'm just sitting here in my corner playing F1 because I'm too nerdy.
Because it's a real man sport. Yeah.
I'm too nerdy to play a real video.
Yeah, F1 is like D&D. Forza was like, I don't know, like some easier board game, like Monopoly.
A frat party.
A frat party.
Yes.
That's actually pretty true. It's like the whole Forza festival thing.
Oh yeah, like I've been to a festival that looked exactly like that, and it was just very strange. It's a very nice thing to go to. But yeah, so sports games this year's pretty good. It seems pretty good. I do want to try and see if Madden 19 is any good, but I've not played a Madden game in like 4 years. So
can you just imagine how complex they're going to be? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We'll see how we go with that.
Apparently, actually, the EA basketball game's not so terrible this year.
Oh, the NBA Live.
Yeah, so apparently there's finally competition in basketball, which is good. I always
That's
think
really
that
good.
every sports franchise needs a competition. Like they just do better when there's two rather than one.
Yeah,
like FIFA is so much better than it could be because it has to compete against PES. And I think
compete in quotation marks now.
Yeah, unfortunately, which is why I'm really disappointed for PES because I think it's good. I think Madden and ice hockey. I know you like this year's ice hockey, but I think EA doesn't have quite the same incentive to improve year on year.
Oh yeah, they have no reason to improve it because they've got nothing
to compete against. And Sony, especially actually with the baseball one, is the worst because they just don't need to improve the baseball game, MLB. Because they haven't got any real competition. So I think competition's good, and I think it's great that EA seems to have pulled up NBA. So, and 2K actually has some competition now. Maybe they can fix their loot box thing now.
Maybe. I think we're going to end this section with the fact that in NHL 19 you can customize your big hit emote. So when you hit someone, your character will say something. And for example, you can say something like "get wrecked" in French. And I really like that. And sit down in French, as well as go warm the bench in English. So that we've reached the peak of games, to be quite honest. We can stop games now. It's all good.
Instead of closing music, can we just play those sound bites over and over?
I'll find a way.
Does it have dancing though? That's the most important thing.
Yeah, you have emotes. Yeah.
Does it have fights?
Score a goal. Yes, it does have fights. Of course it does. This is a hockey game.
That's nice.
It's PG for mild violence and coarse language.
Fights are good. If you don't have fights, there's no point playing a hockey game.
Yeah, because it's part of the game. It's like dominating the other team. It's great.
Does a stadium get wrecked though?
No, I don't believe so. You can play outside though. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks for being on the show, everyone. It's been a good week. We're all going to go and lead our lives. Matt's going to go adventure in Japan. I'm going to go and play an accordion. I don't know what Harvard and Trent are going to do. They're probably going to have fun somewhere. I'm assuming.
I think they're going to have fun.
Yeah. It's alright. Alrighty. See you all next week.